morning. I really appreciate it. I know I got you up early, so thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, I just want to maybe confirm something with you. I had heard that was there some type of meeting with the governor's legal counsel and the sitting senators regarding this emergency procurement of hotel quarantine facilities. What can you tell us about that?
So we did have a discussion on transparency and other things that she'll probably reveal today. So what I can tell you is that there were issues. I don't know the depth. I kind of heard a little bit when I got on the call this morning that what you FOIA'd. I don't have all the details of the contract itself.
Well, I don't think there is a contract, first of all, Senator.
Okay. Well, there was a FOIA that was done by KUM, I believe, so I don't have all the information that you guys received.
Right.
So my understanding was that there was some suspension of procurement practices, and so that is that is something that I would have to look into and see what the details are.
Right.
I believe they are coming out with a statement regarding some of the issues that came out of procurement. But having said that, the emergency procurement is pretty clear, is that it does allow for purchasing of emergency services and goods, and it doesn't have to be the lowest. There is a rule, 50-10, that allows for trade-offs for quick delivery over to a certain extent. So basically, generally speaking, you have your three quotes. You go for the lowest bid, or there is some trade-offs if you can get it quicker. So that's emergency procurement, and it's only for 30 days. And so, understandably, this virus is pandemic is a longer process, and so I can understand that some of the procurement law does not apply, but I do want to say that they have a lot of professionals on their team, and I think now is the time to really tap into their professionals and not to avoid procurement law. That is something that and the fact is too that they did impanel the policy office, procurement policy office, that is, to come up with guidelines to improve procurement law. And they were supposed to come out with a finalized formal report within 7 months, and that was back in 2019 in October. I did reach out to the policy office, and they did not have anything formal to release.
Out of loop policy office, Senator?
Yes. This is not to be confused with the policy office. There's a procurement policy office.
Right.
And there's another policy office.
Okay.
So I'm talking about the procurement policy office.
Okay.
And that is headed by Edward Byrne. And so that's something, really now is the time. And I think part of the issue, too, is this pandemic has really highlighted some of our deficiencies in government. And one of it is really just we need to shore up this procurement process.
Right. I guess, Senator, let's just go back to the beginning. So, and kind of gleaning all the information that we've reported on, that other media has reported on, it appears that, first there's an issue with Linda DeNorsi saying that she didn't even know her digital signature was used on some of these documents. So there's that, right? And then there's also that we entered into these deals with these hotels without a contract. And then there's also that the, governor's legal counsel is asking for, expedited payment for these guys without, the only thing I saw in writing was a letter from Pacific Star saying, hey, you owe us over $500,000 for 2 weeks worth of rooms.
Wow.
And so I just want to say you are supposed to be the watchdog of procurement at the Guam legislature. So in getting the information that you've been able to glean, I know you said you haven't got the FOIAs yet or whatever, but does this pass the smell test to you?
Definitely not. That's fraud. Using somebody's signature, that is definitely an issue of fraud, and that doesn't pass. Mm-hmm. For sure.
Who was in this meeting? Was it a Zoom? Who all participated? Who was leading this meeting?
So it was called together. Let me see. I need to get this correct. But what I could say is that, senators and the governor with her staff.
The governor?
Governor with her, the policy office.
Okay, so do you have some names? It's Governor Lilian Guerrero, and who else? Policy people?
The policy.
The
Department of
policy, or
Administration
are you
Director
talking
Edward
like
Byrne,
Carla
BBMR
Branch?
Director.
It was, Carla Branch, High, Legal Counsel High, and, John Jr.
Okay, so senators. How many senators? All of them?
I think there were the Democrat senators.
Okay.
All the Democrat
Yeah.
senators. Okay, so all the Democrat senators, Governor Lilian Guerrero, Haig Hyun, the governor's son-in-law / legal counsel, Carlo Branch, the chief policy advisor.
Yes.
So what was the gist of this meeting, Senator, if you will, if you can?
Who called the meeting?
So it's not clear if it was either the speaker or the governor's office that reached out, but I believe it's something they were gonna share. I don't want to. They're going to reveal a plan, so I don't want to give that information out. It's going to come out in the press conference.
Okay, so but what can you tell us? Was there anything specifically addressing the quote-unquote procurement of these hotels as quarantine and isolation facilities?
Let's see, what can I say about that at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can tell the truth. I mean,
Yep. What I could say is that procurement it doesn't follow procurement policy.
I'm just curious why you're saying what you can say. Are you being
are you guys
gagged,
scared
or
of the governor's legal counsel or something?
You're not
Not at all.
allowed?
Not at all.
or-
Because
No,
it
no,
kind
no.
of seems like he throws his weight around. If you look at these letters, it kind of seems like no one questions his decisions. It kind of seems like he unilaterally decides so many things that are happening in this, as far as like at least procurement. That's just what we know about him. I mean, we don't know what else he's leading the charge on, but it does kind of seem like in reading these emails that his tone indicates that no one is going to challenge him. He's like, hey, we need to pay these people out. It's a cash flow. We need to worry about their cash flow issue, so let's pay them. I mean, nobody was like, whether is there an invoice, or I don't know. So we're just asking you as the legislative procurement chair.
Yeah. The problem is the specifications changed. So I mean, they were trying to get services. Then it's, I think with a lot of So basically specs changed, and that to me, that's what I heard in the conversation, is that specifications changed as they were trying to procure rooms, and that's an issue when it comes to solicitation.
Right.
That you have to stick to the specifications.
So when they went and they procured these hotels, were they supposed to issue out an RP or anything? Everything they did up to this point was above board.
So the only thing that I heard was that the specs changed, and so with the emergency procurement, you have to. It's a request for quotes. So basically, you call. You have to at least get 3 quotations, and you base on the lowest cost or delivery time. So that's the process.
Right, but I
So
think
it's much more streamlined. Instead of
Right.
having bids submitted and then evaluated, you can call around for the quotes.
Senator, there was something I saw a couple weeks ago where the Adelu press secretary, Crystal Pago San Augustine, had said that I believe Pacific Star was one of the only ones that had answered the call. So I'm wondering, how are they going to get 3 quotes if they already said that hotel was the only one that answered that specific call for a quarantine isolation facility?
In the conversation, they did reach out to all the hotels, and they got a limited response. I don't know if it was just one response, but that was the process they went through. So they did go with the 3 quotes. They did look around.
I see.
But
Was that in writing, or that was
because
like
it kind of
phone
seems
calls?
like there's nothing.
Is there a paper trail?
So that wasn't brought up in the conversation, but just the fact that they did.
I'm sorry, that was not? Did you say that was
sorry.
not?
I didn't get that information from
Right.
the conversation.
Hey, I want to give you credit though, Senator, because I mean, you guys have been out of the loop over there at the legislature. Out of loop. We just overwhelmingly and unanimously passed a bill calling for more transparency from the governor's office, and this is exactly why we passed that bill. And anticipating the override from what we talked about with all with the senators that we touched base with last week, and this is exactly why. It's because you guys, it's like worse than pulling teeth to get answers.
Did they call this meeting, or you guys had this meeting yesterday to discuss, to be transparent, or because they wanted to unveil a plan?
It was twofold. So both of those. Yeah.
So did it appear like it's an attempt to make sure that you guys don't override Bill 333?
I don't think that was the reason. I felt there was, it was twofold, to really kind of reconnect to. I'm not too sure. I didn't.
When's the last time you guys spoke with the governor? Like that, via Zoom or however it is that you guys spoke with her? Yeah, I
don't recall the time, but it was before the pandemic.
Right. I wanted to read this comment that we just got from the Attorney General's office. I had asked, can we get the AG on the hotel quarantine procurement? Does he still oversee GovGuam contracts? Because they're only open an hour a day, so I don't know how much time that gives them to actually do their jobs. But AG spokeswoman Carlina Charfris writes, Buenas, we cannot comment on ongoing procurement, but our office's role is to review contracts for legal compliance, including laws that are triggered when a public health emergency is declared, and we will continue to fulfill this duty. I just want to go back to the term ongoing procurement. Is this procurement still ongoing if they've already been paid for services that they've provided?
We don't know if they've been paid.
Well, I don't know. It said they got an invoice. Yeah, you're right. Do you think this is still something ongoing? I mean, I feel like the Attorney General should be coming down maybe a little bit harder on this.
Well, if the services are being provided, the assumption is that there isn't a procurement that's occurring. So I don't have the details in front of me to really.
All right, but based on the meetings you had yesterday, you're satisfied with what was presented to you, and senators are satisfied with the way this whole hotel issues have gone down.
No, there was missing information, so I wouldn't say satisfied.
Okay, so it's Packstar and what other hotels?
I don't have the details on that either.
So you're kind of just getting it at the same time we're getting it. That's why, we woke you up early to throw all this stuff at you, so I do want to give you credit that, you're saying right off the bat, this does not pass the smell test. And so I think that's something that,
is that what you're
pretty
saying?
Big.
The using of digital signatures, that's fraud. And just the fact that they are, did not follow procurement standards.
Right.
I think, that's definitely not.
Right, and we had a comment in here, and this is something I've heard from. Oh, this guy's actually a lawyer, Stephen Attore. Every typhoon we use emergency procurement. It's not a novel concept. But Senator, what I want to ask you is, if you're familiar, I'm assuming as the oversight chair on procurement, is the type of emergency procurement and the process that we use after typhoons, is it matching up with what we're doing right now? Because I've been told that it's not, that what we're doing right now to procure these hotels is not normal in any sense of the word. That, I've talked to a few different lawyers and they say, no, you don't do it that way. What's your thought on that?
So I don't have the luxury of comparing the past. I'm just kind of working on what's in front of me right now. But just judging from what you're telling me, it doesn't look right. So I don't have the luxury of actually comparing with the past.
But I know you're going to get.
But does the law just
right?
say when there's a pandemic, it's a different set of rules for emergency procurement as opposed to when there's a typhoon, or is emergency procurement emergency procurement?
Yeah, to me, so this is interesting. The part where the practices should remain the same, regardless if it's health versus typhoon. Emergency procurement should be the same.
Right.
Okay. And so based on that, what was supposed to be done?
Just walk us back to the beginning.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, Senator,
there's an emergency. A state of emergency is declared.
Right. So everything should be in record, and there should be three 3 requests for quotes. That should be on record. I think the problem might be the changing of specifications as things were changing. Basically they should have had staff that were procurement experts to help them guide them along the way. And to me, it's clear that they didn't utilize the expertise that they have on board.
It kind of seems like it's a one-man show. The governor's son-in-law / legal counsel just throwing his weight around town.
So when
can't say
when all of this was being disclosed during this meeting, this conference you had with the governor, with Haig, her son-in-law, the attorney, who BBM? Did you say BBMR?
No, it's the procurement policy officer.
Carlo Branch. So when you guys had this meeting yesterday, was this
was it Carlo or was it Mr. Byrne?
No, I'm sorry. It's Carlo Branch.
Okay.
It's policy office, not the procurement policy office.
Okay. So when this was when they were discussing this and disclosing this, telling you how they went about procuring, did anybody raise their hand and say, "Oh, red flag, this is wrong"?
Well,
or was it like, okay, thanks?
Well, I did weigh in on the issue, and so the only information that I got was that the only information that I gleaned from the conversation was that the specifications changed through the process. So I wasn't aware of the other aspects of it, and so that's what I brought up is that is an issue because it changes the scope of work, and when you have procurement, when you're practicing procurement, you have to ensure fairness to all bidders, potential bidders, and that was the issue that I picked up from the conversation. So regarding the other issues, I'm not aware of those other issues until this conversation.
So Senator,
any other procurement? I'm sorry, any other aside from the hotels, like medical supplies, equipment, PPE, anything else that kind of raised a red flag for you?
We did not discuss any of the other things. It was, there was just that only part came up in the conversation, but nothing. It wasn't a global discussion.
Right. So what are you going to do?
Not even test kits?
What are you going to do about it, Senator? Are you going to? I'm just thinking like we need to call an oversight hearing. We need to call an oversight hearing. We need to get the governor's son-in-law, legal counsel, Lester Carlson, Carlo, all these guys in front of the legislature to answer questions. I just think that's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. So is that something that you're going to be doing? Or are we going to continue to take Adeloop's word for it that they're going to be transparent?
Yes, I can call an oversight on the procurement aspect.
Well, okay. What about tax refunds? Everybody's been asking about that. You are the oversight chair. And also stimulus checks. Yeah. I'm sure there's probably one senator in the room at least that said, "What's up? When are we going to get this?"
Yeah, so we do have an SES meeting coming up, and that all the questions are going to be asked regarding that. What I understand is that it's holding up the stimulus checks. So just to be clear, the stimulus checks is different from the unemployment aspect, which is different from the Corona AIDS, which is what came in. The 111 million is what came in, but the stimulus checks have not come in. It's pending the approval of the implementation.
Right. Okay, we know that. So what about the $118 million? Did they provide you guys a breakdown? This is what we're going to use it for. We're going to give $500 to people. Do they tell you guys anything? Because the CNMI, they're already saying this is what we're going to use our $36 million.
It's kind of bad when you're holding up the CNMI as an example of transparency. That's all I'm saying. It's like, they got their own things going on, but when they're beating us in transparency, I would just be embarrassed as the governor of Guam. I would be just so ashamed that here's our people here on Guam every single day. I need my wand.
Did anybody in the administration tell you guys yesterday what they're going to use the $118 million for? Because the people of Guam have a right to know.
Yes, the budget is coming out. They're working on the budget, and they'll be releasing that this week, I believe.
The Gov Guam budget?
The budget for the 111
I see.
million.
Okay, gotcha.
The $118 million? Is that
Yeah, the 100 coronavirus.
Right.
Are you saying 111 because they're using 7 million for quarantine?
Sorry, I'm not getting the numbers correct. Yeah, the coronavirus funds that came in,
Right.
they're going to they're creating a budget for that, so they're going to report that out
During today's press conference, or?
I'm not too sure about today's press conference, but they're working on the budget.
So, Senator, I just want to go
but
back.
But did they give you guys a preview of the budget yesterday?
No,
the breakdown.
No, they didn't.
So you have no idea what they're going to spend this $111 million on?
No.
None of you guys. Right.
No.
You should know, right? I mean, is that a stupid question? Don't you feel like you guys should?
That's something we've been asking for.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
And so how does this kind of, how does this play into this potential override of Senator Theresa Elahi's transparency bill? Because, again, this is exactly what we're talking about. This is exactly why you guys felt like you needed to unanimously pass a bill like this.
I think, it still can be done. I mean, it's better to have it consistent, some sort of consistency. It doesn't diffuse to me the issue of whether we override it or not. I think it's a good measure.
Yeah, and
Do
I know
you
you're
support an override?
Of course,
you vote?
she's a second co-sponsor.
I'm just asking. I mean, they had a conversation yesterday.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I think it only helps. It would only help the situation.
Right. I don't know what senator would be dumb enough to come down and be like, no, they're going to be transparent, guys. We don't need to override this. We're cool. They mean it this time, for real. They pinky promised. I mean, right, Senator, but we got to run because I want to get Father Paul on here. But just, again, in closing, you had made a commitment here that you're going to do an oversight hearing on this procurement. Can you just be a little more specific and then tell the people out here, because people got questions, obviously, exactly what is the procurement oversight chair of the legislature going to do about this hotel procurement, which, to a lot of people doesn't pass the smell test?
Yes, I can call an oversight on the procurement for the hotel and other issues, and using this too as a way to ensure that we shore up procurement practices. This is something that we really need to give attention to. If you look at the GSA, they're understaffed, and I think it's really high time that we make this a priority in our government. It's something that I've always promoted and advocated for. And I think just because we're in an emergency situation doesn't mean that we skirt or try to get around procurement laws. It's important that we ensure fairness for all businesses that want to avail themselves of any contract. So I think it's important that we ensure government practices,
right?
Procurement practices.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Senator.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, and wash your hands.
Likewise.
Okay. Thank you, Senator. There you go, Senator Sabina Perez. And you're very frustrating for our elected senators because, for the most part, they're finding out information in the press conferences. They're finding out information when the media finds out about it. But again, when they get this information, I think it's refreshing that Senator Sabina is being hit with all this info, a lot of it which is new to her, and she's still saying we're going to call an oversight. There's just too much hanky-panky